with another video. I posted yesterday that I was going to make cauliflower biscuits, so let me show you what we need to make that. So first thing, you need a whole head of cauliflower. I've already cut it up. You can buy it already chopped. A lot of stores have that. Just make sure you don't buy it frozen. It should be fresh. And we're going to use uncured bacon bits. I found these in Sprouts and wanted to try them and use them. If you don't find this or you don't have these, you can use Applegate sausages. I mean, you can pretty much use any cooked meat already. And then if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you can just leave it out and use like peppers or any other veggie, or just leave it out completely. You don't necessarily have to have this ingredient in these biscuits for them to come out right. Then we're going to use half a cup of almond flour or almond meal. I use the Bob's Red Mill. And we got 2 eggs. Again, if you're vegan or vegetarian, I'll post below on how to use flax seeds to make a egg substitute. This is a mixture of 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. It makes it a little bit spicy, not too spicy. I personally don't like anything super spicy, but it gives it a little bit of a kick. So if you don't like that, just leave the pepper out. You may need to adjust the salt just to give it more flavor, but like I said, you can leave it out. It won't make a huge difference. So first thing we got to do is grate the cauliflower. So we're going to grab a food processor and we're going to use the grate blade. If you don't have a food processor, you can just use a blender and rice the cauliflower. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Cauliflower is all grated up or riced. Like I said, if you don't have I made a mess. If you don't have a food processor or a blender, I highly suggest you. There's our German Shepherd puppies jumping up on the thing. I highly suggest you invest in one of them. They're super important in making a lot of recipes. My cameraman suggested you use a hand grater. He's clearly never riced the whole head of cauliflower. That's going to take you like a half an hour. This will make it like 2 minutes. Okay, so I put 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I did forget to mention this in the ingredients. Don't worry, I'll post the ingredients below the video. So we're just going to dump the whole head of cauliflower in there. And hear it sizzling. I probably need to invest in a bigger pan, but you work with what you got. I've made it in this pan before, we'll survive. And you're also going to blend in the spices as well. So you want to cook this about 5-6 minutes. You just want to make it a little bit translucent. You'll see what I mean once you start cooking it. Mix that up. I blend the spices together like that so that there's not one like really salty part or really garlicky part. So that's why I pre-blend the spices so that each part is incorporated into every single part of the cauliflower. Another thing I started doing, even when I'm not making videos, because I started videos, is actually sectioning out my ingredients before I even start. I've noticed that's helped me make foods a lot faster, because then I'm not like, oh, I gotta get this from the fridge, or I gotta get this from the pantry. So I lay everything out first. And you may like dirty up a little bit more pans, but it makes your life way easier when you're actually cooking. So now I don't have to worry about anything. All my stuff is right there. This is all that I need, and I don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta go get this. So it makes your life a lot easier. Alright, so the cauliflower is pretty much done. You can see it's not as white as before. It's a little bit like clear. I don't know how to explain it, but it's 5 to 6 minutes. You can taste it. It shouldn't taste raw anymore. You don't want to cook it too much because we are going to put it in the oven. So you want to remove it from heat, and we're going to dump in the almond flour, and then we're going to break 2 eggs in there. And don't worry about putting raw eggs. We are, like I said, going to put this in the oven, so it is going to cook. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. You got to preheat your oven to 400 degrees before you start this. So as you can see, my oven's already warmed up. And we're just going to mix this all in. This is when having a bigger pan would have come in handy, but I don't have one. Alright, so I'm going to incorporate this all into there. Okay, last thing we got to add is the bacon bits. Not put that in there. Like I said, you can leave this step out if you don't want any meat in there, or you can use like a veggie. If you are going to use like a veggie that needs to be like cooked, I would incorporate it when you do the cauliflower so that it cooks a little bit, like something like peppers or onions, because we're only putting this in the oven for about 30 minutes and it might not be as cooked as you want it to be if you put raw veggies in at this stage. So we're just incorporating that all in together. I'm making a mess. I'm clearly not a clean cook. It's okay, it still comes out good. Alright, so it's all mixed. And now we're going to put it on our parchment paper. This is another thing that you should get. You could, of course, grease a regular cookie sheet, but I don't like having to clean the cookie sheet after. So this makes your life a lot easier because you can just throw it out and it won't stick on there. Alright, so we're going to take a 1/4 cup measuring cup to basically form the biscuits. It makes it a lot easier and it makes them pretty when you cook them like that. So just pack it in there and then you slap it down just like that. You have to do it that hard so that it fully comes out. If you don't, trust me, I've tested this, if you don't smack it down, it gets stuck in there. So I'm going to continue doing this. It makes about 15 biscuits. Okay, so I'm all finished forming all the biscuits. There's 15 like I said. So I'm going to put this in the oven. It's preheated at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. You want to make sure they're like crispy and crunchy on the outside and a little bit like soft on the inside. So we're going to put those in and now we wait. Okay, bear with me. My cameraman had a prior engagement, so I'm all by myself. So the biscuits are all ready. They've been cooking for 30 minutes. You can see they're crispy on the outside. The edges are a little brown, but you can pick them up and they're still, they're well formed. They're not falling apart anymore. So that's it. It was pretty simple from start to finish. It takes about 40 minutes, 10-minute prep time, 30-minute cook time, and then you just gotta wait for them to cool down and they're ready to go. So see you next time.